Hi guys, how are you all doing? I hope all of you are safe and healthy with your families at home. Well, this here is the new updated Hyundai Verna for 2020. Now this car receives some major changes on the front end. You get a huge grill up front, which is all new. You also get new headlamps and a new bumper, and these changes make this car look a lot more sharp and more dynamic than it already was. It's always been a sharp and stylish looking car, but these changes definitely give it the edge over some of its other rivals. You also get a new set of alloy wheels, and this car really does look very sporty because of the changes on the outside. But the biggest change has been served under the bonnet. This car now gets a new engine. In fact, 3 new engines. You get a new petrol, a new diesel, and a new turbo-petrol as well. But today we'll drive this car around to you, show you how is it to drive, how is it to sit in, and what are the big changes which are on the interiors of the all-new Hyundai Verna. Well, so before going further, if you are planning to get your car serviced or repaired, it might be regular servicing of the car, or it might be some repair work to the body parts or the body panels, then I think you should check out the Budmo app and the Budmo website. It's BOODMO, and I'll put the link in the description box below. Now, they are the online experts in spare parts, and they have the most extensive catalog of spare parts, both for servicing parts, regular parts, engine parts, as well as for body parts. And they have the most extensive catalog, as I just said. So you might be looking for some fog lamps for your car. You might be owning a Swift, you might be owning an Alto, you might be owning a more expensive car, you might be owning a BMW 7 Series or a 5 Series. They have parts for cars across the range, and they have the most extensive catalog. So check them out on the website. Also check them out on the Google Play Store as well as the iOS App Store, because they're available on both places, and they have very good prices. They have genuine parts, and they also offer you hassle-free and no-nonsense doorstep delivery. You don't have to take any stress about it. They'll offer you the part right at your doorstep. So if you are someone who always thinks that your local service mechanic is charging extra for parts, then check out the prices on the app as well as on the website, and I'm sure that you will find what you're looking for. Even if your local service guy and your local mechanic doesn't have the parts, Budmo promises to deliver those parts to you, and they will source the parts from somewhere and have them delivered at your doorstep. So check the app out today, check the website out today, and I'm sure you'll agree with what I just said. Now let's go back to our video. Well, so inside the cabin of the new Verna, and the Verna has always been a great car in terms of the quality as well as the materials, and it's no different on the new car. You get soft touch materials all across the cabin. The top of the dashboard, the top of the door panel is made from, I think, the best in class plastics. Even the switches over here for the AC as well as for the infotainment system are from the best materials, and this really is a very posh and a very classy place to be in. Now, the big changes on this new updated car, of course, are the addition of this huge screen now, and Hyundai has always had one of the best screens in terms of the intuitiveness and the ease of operation, and it's no different on the new Verna. It's a very nice screen, easy to operate, has absolutely no lag, and just the fonts, the overall menus, sub-menus are very easy to navigate through. And the big deal now is that you get an all digital display for the gauges. Yes, the rev counter as well as the speedometer is now all digital, and it definitely adds a cool quotient to the car, and it really makes the Verna feel a very youthful and a very sporty car to be in. The seats, they offer you excellent cushioning as well as good support, and of course this is the only car in its segment so far that offers you AC on the front seat. These are cooled seats, so that also adds to the overall appeal, especially if you're filming on a hot summer day like we are today. You also get wireless charging for your mobile phone, and that's a new iPhone Pro Max, and that also can be charged on this car. And you can also keep your water bottle inside the glove box, because it's a cool glove box. So overall, an excellent place to be in. I'll give the front end of this car 10 out of 10. Now let's see how good the back seat of the Verna is. I'm in the back seat of the Hyundai Verna, and in terms of overall knee room, it's quite decent and acceptable, and my height for reference is 5'10", and I always adjust the front seat for my height and my driving position. And for someone who's about 5'10", 5'11", and has a chauffeur of the same height, these seats are quite decent. The seats themselves are quite good in comfort. You get excellent support for your under thighs. The knee and hip angle is also at a nice 90 degree, so you sit comfortably in these seats. The backrest angle is also quite good, and headroom also is decent. AC vents at the back is now really obligatory across the range, and you also get a charging point for your mobile phone. The good point is that the floorboard is completely flat, which means that whoever's sitting in the middle has plenty of place to stretch his feet. Overall, a decent place. It could have been better, and when you compare it with its rivals, it feels a little less, but in isolation it's a nice place. I'll give it 8 out of 10. Also, the boot of the Hyundai Verna is a nice and square shape. As you can see, it's a deep boot, and you also get a little place here where you can throw in those big bags or that golfing kit, and you'll be quite happy with it because the boot is at par with its other rivals. The only issue is that the aperture isn't the biggest, and if you have a big box to load into it, sometimes it can be a bit tricky. So if the aperture was better, then this car would be perfect in terms of the boot, but even then it's a nice and square boot and at par with its rivals, so I'll give it a strong score of 8 out of 10. Well, so here I am driving the all-new Hyundai Verna, and this car, remember, comes with 3 engine options. There's a 1.5 diesel, 1.5 petrol, both of which make about 115 bhp, and there's also 1 litre turbocharged petrol, which makes about 120 bhp. No matter which engine, gearbox and fuel you choose, then these combinations make this car the best in its segment for sheer driving pleasure. The suspension is slightly on the firmer side, which means that some of those badly patched up roads can filter through, but the plus point is that if you go on the highway, then this car soaks in the bumps without any fuss whatsoever, and also feels very stable, very reassuring, and definitely a whole lot more stable than your last girlfriend did. What you like about this car also is that the cabin is very well isolated. It's a very well cocooned cabin from the outside world, and that means that if you are going on a long distance journey, then there's absolutely no wind noise, there's minimal tire noise, and there's absolutely no engine noise, which makes it a great place to be in. Now today let's focus on this new engine, the 1.5 petrol, because of course we're driving this car and we're also driving it with the new automatic gearbox. It's a CVT gearbox now. The earlier torque converter gearbox is out. It was a 6-speed unit. This one is a CVT. Now in terms of the gearbox, a CVT gearbox means that this one continually shifts gears. There's no gear as such, so you don't feel the jhatkas which you feel on a normal gearbox. So that is something very good about this car. The transmission is very seamless, and power delivery also is very generous. This 1.5 litre engine is very responsive, and even when you rev it hard, it doesn't feel noisy inside the cabin. There's no negative buzz which enters the cabin, so to say. Now in terms of the driving bits, no matter which engine you choose, the steering wheel is probably the sharpest steering wheel on any car and the most dynamic steering wheel on any car in this segment. And the gearbox also, manuals, is phenomenal to use because the slick throws will really put a smile on your face. And it's a gearbox which definitely is probably one of the best in the business because the throws are short, it's a light gearbox, and the clutch action also is very positive. Now 1.5 petrol is a very sweet motor. It's a very refined engine, and it's also a very responsive engine, which means that it starts responding from relatively low RPMs of about 1200 1300 RPM, which makes it a good car for driving in the city. Now if you are someone who drives the car himself, you'll truly enjoy driving this car because the combination of this 1.5 petrol, its peppiness as well as refinement, along with the sharpness of the steering wheel, the communicativeness of the steering wheel, will put a smile on your face. As I just said, if you are a keen driver, you'll enjoy driving this car. And if you decide to choose the manual version of the car, we drove them very briefly. If you decide to choose the manual version of the car, then you'll enjoy them as well because the manual gearboxes are very crisp to operate. They have very short throws and they don't need a heavy hand to shift. And all these things make the Hyundai Verna a great car for people who drive themselves, and definitely a car which you'll enjoy driving even on the longest of long journey. Overall, in terms of driving department, I'll give it a strong score of 90 out of 100, and it is by far the best driver's car in this segment for anyone who calls himself a keen driver. Overall, the Hyundai Verna comes across as a very strong all-rounder. It offers you very stylish looks on the outside. It offers you a very posh cabin on the inside, and it offers you a very engaging and a very good drive if you are a keen driver. The petrol engine is very refined as well, and being a Hyundai really means that resale values as well as after sales will be very strong. And essentially what I'm trying to say is that if you're in the market for a mid-size sedan, then you should definitely shortlist this car. And with the Verna, you simply can't go wrong. If you're buying this one, you will not regret making this decision. I reckon it's one of the best mid-size cars out there in the market. It's bye for now, and thanks for watching.